But he would make her sing so elegant.
Yes.
So elegant.
Of course.
I have there are two misereres, and there's one that wasn't published for a long time because he didn't have the med chorus. He recorded with Louise. The work that I do in a master class only in China has been different from elsewhere. Romania, you have fantastic voices, incredible singers with the same problems that all American and European and British singers have, basically, about bel canto. In China it was different. They were way behind. And they also manufactured what they thought was a Western operatic sound, but being very dark. Because Chinese opera is very forward. It's all very in the nose. So they made up a voice they thought was opera. So we had to start from zero there. But no, in Romania, it's the same challenges as in New York or Amsterdam, where I brought 5 singers from Amsterdam for this. And they have no different problems from the Romanian singers, the same, all over. If you think about the diminuendo that's on the page, it will also make you chew less N in encore. It will there'll be less encore. It's, I feel like Lucy and I are saying something that nobody believes, because I've had this with other sopranos too, that the piano beginning of each section of the aria needs to really be piano. That's part of her excitement. And if it's, it doesn't say it.
Yeah. I try to do it a little bit, just in the second part.
Right. But I don't know what the risk is to do it at the beginning, because, especially on a mic, it's about what, and the accompaniment is, but it's nothing. Nothing under you. That's her excitement. That's the whole, and that's why there are rests between. So you always play an elasticity with it, because then we feel. What's interesting about teaching is that you learn the most from teaching. My technique, if I knew back when I was singing what I know now, I would have been the greatest singer in the world, because I have learned the most from teaching. I mean, these singers, every mistake they make, I have to figure out how to solve for them and with them. I have to think so hard. There's smoke coming out of my ears. And if it's only 8 days, I have to think that much faster and harder. In Israel, the program is 4 weeks. Here it's 8 days. I have to think like crazy. And it helps me tremendously. And I have to think a different solution for each person. No one is the same. Voices are all different. Personalities are different. So for me, it's a gift in a way, because it improves me. I worked with all the singers, and the voices were very good. A couple of Romanian voices that are actually quite remarkable. I brought good voices with me, very good voices from Holland, but they are also French and Swiss. I mean, they're based in Amsterdam, but they're not Dutch, tour Dutch. And the Romanian voices, there are a couple of sopranos who are sensational in very different ways, and two tenors and the baritone, and one of the tenors is a dramatic tenor with a tremendous voice. The other one's a very lyric tenor with a lovely kind of lilt. And the spinto soprano, both sopranos are gorgeous. And the spinto soprano, Bianca, is a very rare voice type in the world. Very rare voice type. She needs some serious funding. She needs some support because this is a major voice of a very rare kind. Sylvia, beautiful singer. Beautiful. The image in the world is the opposite of what I think. The image in the world is that acting has become very important in opera and is essential because it's so much HD, high definition telecasts become DVDs. My feeling is that's a great deal of it is imposed by stage directors and camera directors, and it doesn't always connect for the singers. And singers before often brought the acting from themselves to the stage. And through the voice and through the phrase that Verdi or Puccini or Wagner created on the page. And this imposition of theatricality from the outside is actually not as connective and organic for the singers now as it was for, let's say, Maria Callas, Tito Gobbi, Leonie Riesenig, Renato Scotto. I could go on, bore you to death with a list of names. These people now, these poor people, have to be a slave of the stage director's thought and concept about the opera. And therefore, how can it possibly connect us personally when it doesn't come from them? It comes from an outside source and is imposed on them. As a stage director myself, I feel my greatest responsibility is to pull out of the performer something true and reflect what's on the page in the score that a genius put there. And I mean by genius, I mean geniuses, I mean the composer and the librettist. The stories are not stupid. They are not stupid. The image that opera stories is stupid is itself a stupid idea. And opera stories are written by geniuses as well as the music. So it's our responsibility to pull that out. And I've been very privileged in my life to work a few times directing for James Levine when he was conducting. You have to have a conductor and a director who work together, like Lucy and I work together when we do conducting and directing, who believe that what's on the page in the score is like the Holy Bible, and it's our job to combine that with the personality of the performers and the color of the orchestra to make something emotional happen. Otherwise, why bother? So, yeah, I think these days it's thought to be better acting than ever, but it's a different kind of acting, and it's not necessarily great operatic acting. change and art changes with the times, and this is a technological era. Therefore, music is more techno and mathematical than it is soulful. Minimalist music is highly mathematical and repetitive. Singing is technically better than it was, like tennis is technically better than it was years ago, but not played with the same heart. Singing is technically better. We never had men who could trill or do Rossini and Handel in my time. There was no career for countertenor in my day. That's why, as a coloratura soprano male, I didn't have Baroque opera then, so I had a parody troupe. It's changed, and technically better than ever, but interpretively, passionately, the music isn't, and the singing isn't. And that reflects the time we live in, I think. I hope that 100 years from now, people are still singing Verdi and Puccini tunes. I hope so. We won't know, but we can hope so.